Hello everybody. This podcast delivers you information about your own well-being, about your how to lead a business into the future and how to get through crisis and how to also improve and develop yourself and your business. Your business cannot grow if you haven't grown inside. Maybe 50 years ago this was possible, but now also enterprises are undergoing a shift. This shift has gone from controlling and doing and an energy forward directed into areas of should be, has to, and needs to. So the drive was to create a neediness inside the client so that he would buy, and to maximize the profits even if your employees had to suffer and didn't have a good life or a fair payment. But nowadays, in the 21st century, things have changed. The way people feel and think have changed. The times have changed. And for changed times, there need to be changed strategies. When a company is engaging in environmental sustainability, it is a USP and it is an advantage in comparison with other companies that don't have that and that don't engage in this environmental sustainability process. Even 20 years ago, this wouldn't have mattered that much. People's consciousness has evolved. It's now more about trust and about being seen by your perfect clients and about who is the head of the company, what kind of person is this. And this energy spreads down to the last employee. So this podcast is not only for enterprises and for entrepreneurs and how to develop their business and how to reach the next step in the 21st century of making business or growing an institution. It's also about yourself, and furthermore about yourself who's leading this institution or company. And if you don't believe me that this is the way to go, you can do a little experiment. Depending on whether you offer a product or a service, you can use one way of love, putting a lot of love into a product without thinking about profit, but only out of the motivation to put a lot of love into this product. And then a similar product that's made with the usual routine. This way you can test which product has more success and is sold more. And concerning the developing process and to build the product, how much less energy you need if there's joy and love in the process. And trust. Very often entrepreneurs don't trust their employees and have the feeling to stand behind them and control what they do. It's also proven that motivated employees are 3 times better than employees that are not as motivated. You don't motivate an employee if you're breathing into their necks and standing behind them and control every step of the way. And of course, you might think as entrepreneur, oh my God, if he's missing the point, we have to do the whole process over again and we don't have that time. It's also about trust of letting go and finding the right way for you to feel. That way you don't stress yourself either. It just needs a little training to trust, and you will have much better results in creating and selling your product or your service. And you can also see it in daily life. Something that has been put together in a small amount of time with not much love is usually not a very expensive or worthy product. But some product that, for example, a very expensive book is beautiful because there has been a lot of love with a certain kind of paper and a certain kind of cover, and a famous artist painted that cover and a famous author wrote that book, and it has a certain font and it has beautiful illustrations. And of course, maybe you can find this content somewhere online as a Kindle version. But having a book like that makes it more worthy because there's a lot of more love put into it. And Harry Potter as a movie was so successful also because a lot of people put a lot of love into it and building these creatures and landscapes, building houses and sewing beautiful costumes, designing these costumes, and all kind of elements that were in the book, like the phoenix that emerged out of the ashes. How much love was put into this creature and into the rooms of this Harry Potter movies. What if you took just very young artists that just draw something? It would have been less interesting and not as worthy because it wouldn't give the audience so much joy of illusion. It's a creation. This movie or these movies are a creation of people that put a lot of love into their work. And that's why it's so successful. So if you put a lot of love into yourself, into the head of the company, if you put a lot of love into the people you work with and the people that work for you, and into your services and products, then your company will be more successful, especially in the future where we have that kind of shift, because society has shifted. That's why companies need to go new ways of selling and creating also. And Google started with it a few years ago by putting up hammocks for employees, for integrating their daily life into the company, by giving them possibilities to work out while they're working, by giving them possibilities to have their child taken care of while at the workplace, and with all kind of other incentives they were given. They have realized that a happy and motivated human being brings much more success into a company. So the more you work on yourself as the head of the company and on spreading love and good energy. And spreading love is not only saying hello in a nice way or polite way, but really acting out of love and giving the employees what they need. Even if it means that it's uncomfortable for you as the boss, because you might have to trust more. I've been working with many companies, and help them to be more successful and also happier. And there are a few happy companies out there because the head of the company is happy. And you can save so much energy inside of you for your well-being and outside as resource by just looking at it from the correct perspectives. Sometimes in these telephone coachings that I do with companies, I realize very often that employees are so different. Some need lots of compliments to drive. Some need their cave where they work on their own and then they come out and present. Some need lots of communication. Some need a certain way of communication. And it's not as complicated as you might think, because if you can train your senses, you will realize what each person needs. And I bring companies on the way of this new way of creating and selling products and services and developing companies with an additional level of subconscious and consciousness tools. And by doing this, I learned a lot about companies and enterprises. They can be treated like a human being. They can be analyzed like a human being. And some companies are sick without knowing that they are sick. And entrepreneurs are very surprised because they didn't realize the company was sick. And then by realizing it, you can prevent a chaos or a crisis and act on it better. So you get more information about your company, so you get to know subconscious processes that really help you to develop your company in a very healthy way. And it doesn't matter whether you do have thousands of employees or just 50 or none, because it's your service and your product that you bring into the world. And so it's your energy that you bring into the world, and intentions is also a very important part of it. So this is the first episode of my first podcast, and I feel very honored that you listened to me and that you listened until here, and I hope you enjoyed this first episode. I wish you a beautiful day, and I'm happy if you'd come back to Yvonne's Lighthouse. Goodbye from Germany.